Hello and welcome back to Primary Teaching with Dom. So, I hope everyone's good and doing well. I'm alright, I'm not doing too bad, just feeling a little bit tired right now. But in this video, I thought I would come in and talk about online interviews. So, it's going to be kind of like a story time, tips and hints, not hints, but tips anyway. I'm going to talk about, because currently we're in the kind of situation where a lot of interviews are taking, a lot of teach interviews anyway, are taking place online, like on Skype or wherever they seem fit on Skype and all those things. So I'm going to talk about my one and discuss what happened and some tips I can give you if you're going to go through it. So on my Pgce, I did, not on my Pgce, before my Pgce. So I applied to all the schools. You know, when you do UCAS, you apply to all the schools that you want to do your Pgce on. So I did that, of course, and I picked 3 universities. And with one of my universities that I eventually got into anyway, they said that they wanted to have... No, I'm lying to you. I'm getting the story all confused. So yes, I did apply. And in order to get on, they said that you need to come into the university, so I had to travel all the way up there. You are going to be in a group setting for the first half of your interview, and you're going to get like some questions, and as a group you need to come together, base your arguments and decide how you're going to present it. So that I did. And did quite well. I just had to make sure that that you were listening to others, that you were really fully participating and all that. If you want to go into that, I could do a separate video on that bit of this section of the interview. But then they said, now the second part is that you're going to get a call on Skype, and this is going to be your interview, and they're going to ask you some questions, see whether you're suitable to be on that course. So even though I might have passed the first, you need to pass both. You need to pass the first and second section to get on to the Pgce. So I had my interview. They said it's going to be at this time. Just be ready. Just to send your email. So they sent me an email and they said it's going to be in this day, this time. They didn't say anything more. I was like, okay. So I prepared myself. I made sure that my laptop or whatever I was using, I think it was my laptop at the time, was on and fully charged. If not charged, charging. I made sure, because what you don't want to do is that you're halfway through it and then your laptop cuts out just because they're a bit booky and they just cut anyway. But what you don't want to do is just for it to cut out because you didn't have battery. So I made sure I charged it up fully. I also looked on the internet for kind of like typical kind of Pgce questions. What might they ask? Because you never know what you never know what they're going to ask until you get asked them. But it's always good to kind of know, what did others get asked, just in case some of those questions came up. So yes, as I said, I charged my laptop up. I put some, like, obviously it's an interview, so I like changed into something more presentable at the top. So I think I call it my interview jumper, which I wear to all interviews. It's like a double-breasted kind of jumper that I wear. So I wore that. I was in bed anyway, so I just wore that at the top, had my like normal shorts on or whatever I have on down there. And I just had that top because at least up here looking professional. Just made sure my face is all done, or that I didn't look like I just came out of bed. So I did make sure that I didn't just come out looking like I just got out of bed, and as I said. And I kind of sat and waited. So I went onto Skype about 5 minutes before the interviewer called me, just making sure that I was actually on Skype, make sure everything works. I would suggest you go on about 5-10 minutes before, so you can just check it's all working, check it's all there, check that you're actually on, because you don't want to be having technical difficulties at the very beginning. So yeah, went onto Skype, checked that everything was cool, sat up kind of thinking, I was like, get some water next to me, always stay lubricated, guys, get some water, get some juice, whatever you want to drink next to you. So that means if there's a question you say to repeat, you can just have your glass of water to pick up and drink. Always do that, to be fair. Sit up in that upright position, act professional. Just because you're on Skype doesn't mean anything. I feel sometimes Skype interviews are worse than face-to-face. Because face-to-face, you kind of know that you need to be professional. But when you're at home, relaxed in your home environment, you can kind of slack from that. So I would suggest just base it on that you're actually out. Base that your home is not really your home. Base it on that you're now at their home, I guess, and having an interview. So act really professional. It's been so long since I've been able to do my face that I fit that this hair is touching to my lip and I think is like fluff and it's not. Anyway, so yeah, so the woman called me because I had a woman interview. She said it will be a video Skype. So not just because on Skype you can do the call or you can do the video. So she said it will be a video and I was like, okay, cool. So it came up, make sure I had a little smile on my face. One of the things I would say is to make sure you're looking direct at the camera. So not like looking over here. Or the worst bit is on Skype, because you can see your face, don't look at your face. Because when the person who's looking at you, they see that you're actually not looking at them. You're actually looking down because your face is here. So it's best to look directly into the lens, the little camera bit that's on the top of your, unless you have a computer that's down, look there. But majority of computers have the camera at the top of the laptop, or if you're using an iPad it might be on the side or however you're using it. Sorry guys, there's literally just flies swarming because they're outside and my windows are like not open but I can see everything. So yeah, just make sure you're looking directly at the lens because the person looking at you can see you actually looking at them, and just keep it like this the whole time. So yeah, so she came on and what actually happened is, although it was a video, she didn't show her face. It was blank on her end, but on my end, I could see video, if that makes sense. So that was even harder because it was harder to gauge whether she was liking what I was saying or not. So that made it worse. One of my things to say is, if that does happen to you, just act normal. Just act as though you can actually see them. So look directly into the lens like I am now. Look directly and just pretend as though you can see them. Now, she did ask me a couple of questions like, why do you want to do your Pgce? You know, what are the current affairs going on the Pgce currently right now? So that I did look up, to be fair. And we were able to gauge, especially the question on why do you want to get into teaching? And we were able to conversate. Now, one of the best ways of an interview is to have a conversation. I've had many interviews, you know, I've had many, not in teaching, I mean like in general. I've been working everywhere as a waiter, worked in retail, worked everywhere. So I've had, well, not everywhere, but a lot of places. And I know interviews. And the best interviews is one where they gauge a conversation with you, where you're now talking and they're like, oh, how did you find that? Where it's less of questions, but more of conversating, like, oh, I'm just speaking to my friend out here, but obviously not your friend, but you know what I mean? That's the best interviews. So I would say carry on a conversation, show how passionate you are, smile, but act like you're at an interview. Don't get lackluster and be like, yeah, man, yeah, what, like, yeah, I loved it. Like, yeah, don't do that. Like, yes, I loved it. I love teaching. Teaching is what I wanted to do ever since I was younger. I used to, there used to be games where we'll get the atlas. It's a true story. We'll get the atlas and one will have to be the teacher and other ones have to be the student. And I always opted to be the teacher. I always would fight to be the teacher because I just loved I loved getting feedback from others. I liked taking a good role and being a role model, and they would have to find countries the quickest. So that I would look in the atlas first. I would pick, oh, page 59, there's Austria. I'll close and say you need to find Austria, and then they would have to find it quickly, and then I'll give feedback and all those kind of things. So that's what I had a discussion about, by the way. And then we would go back and forth, and by the time, I think my interview lasted 30 minutes. And we were just laughing, to be fair. Laughing and about me wanting to be on my Pgce and the reasons on why. Then the interview was over. And then she said, okay, thank you, Dom, for the interview, and you'll get an email to tell you whether you passed or not. And then that was it. Ended, closed the laptop, took off the thing, and I went like this, and then off it went, and that was it. And then I got an email to say, congratulations, we now have accepted you onto the Pgce. Now, my tips for an online interview, is, the first is to be confident. Now, I'm a very shy person. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm very shy. So I had to act as though I had confidence. I had to put the persona of, this is teacher, let me go. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was shaking in my boots throughout the whole time. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it was more, I felt more at ease when it was just conversation. Like, we're having a conversation. Yes, she was asking questions, but throughout that, we were gauging conversation. It literally wasn't just question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. It was question, answer, question, conversation, a question from our conversation, and a question from arising from a conversation again. Then she will ask another question, and we'll have another conversation. So it was good. She was gauging questions from our conversation. So it wasn't questions that was on her sheet. It was just questions that came up because I was talking. So that would be, you know, just try and be as confident as you can. I would say the next one is to still upper body wear your professional attire, because this is an interview. I know it's at home, I know it's Skype, I know it's a little bit more relaxed, but still don't show that you're relaxed. Put your professional gear on top on. Make sure. The third thing I would say is have good lighting, and be in an area where there's good lighting around, they can see you. The worst place is to be like, can you see me now? Can you see me? So have good lighting, sit somewhere where that your posture's nice. Now, I did sit on my bed, but I was sitting up against my wall. So I was very bad, I was sitting there. So, but make sure you're sitting somewhere that you're comfortable, that is good lighting, that you can sit upwards, that you don't feel pressured. Sit somewhere that you don't feel too much pressure. I know that's easy to say, oh, my house is an interview, I can't, you know, but do that. My third thing, I don't know if that's my third, you know what, the next thing I would say is to try and gauge conversation as much as possible and ask questions. If they say, is there any questions, ask some questions. Have one or two written down. It could just be, oh, what is life like as a Pgce student in this university? Something quite generic like that. If they do ask you to, if they do say, do you have any questions, don't just say no. Ask one or two. Oh, how long will it take for me to find out this Pgce? Thank you for the interview. I really enjoyed it. What happens next? Those kind of things. Or how do you feel the Pgce is for, is in this university in comparison to others? Those kind of things. Gauging conversation still. And then my last tip, I would say, is do your best. That's all you can do. Do your best. Do a little bit of research on the questions that might come up so you're not going it blind. But just be you, be true, and good luck. You will do excellent. If you don't get that one, there's always a next one, trust me. There is a next university. That university is just not for you. It may feel like it's for you, but another university is probably best for you. So don't get discouraged, just keep trying and you can do it. But yeah, hope you're all good. I'm itching up my arm. I hope you like, comment and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video.